Greetings, YouTubians, and welcome back to Wayne Sharp World, where today we are taking a look at a premium offering coming out of Best Tech. Now, I realized in the past I haven't really had a ton of premium Best Techs on the channel, and I want to change that because recently when it comes to premium Chinese builds, Best Tech has got to be up there with probably the top 3 manufacturers in China, in my opinion. They do a really good job of their own brand, but then they also do a lot of OEM manufacturing for other brands as well. They do great work, and we're going to start taking more of a look at those. And today we are starting with one that really caught my eye. And I'm really happy to get this on the channel because it's from one of my favorite designers. And this here is the Best Tech Lido, designed by Ostap Hell. Now, as you can see, this is a very nice, compact, sleek little EDC that has some really nice offerings to it that you don't get with a lot of other EDC knives. So we're going to go over that, but first, let's take a look at some overall specs on this knife right here. We have an overall length of 6.34 inches, a blade length coming in at 2.48 inches, and a blade thickness at 106 thousandths. We have a blade material of M390, as well as a drop point style blade with a flat grind, a handle length coming in at 3.86 inches, and a handle material of titanium and micarta. We have a frame lock locking mechanism that they did a fantastic job with. We'll go over more about that when we get to the handle portion of the review. We have a user of a right or left hand tip up carry, a weight coming in at 2.96 ounces. And as I said, designed by Ostap Hell, and you can pick up one of these Litos for a grand total of $189. So when it comes to the price, I really don't have much of an issue with it. It kind of is what it is. I wouldn't consider it to be like a barn burner deal, but it also is in line, I think, with other premium offerings, especially from a company like Best Tech. You're going to get up there when you buy a premium from Best Tech. It wouldn't have surprised me if this was more, but I think $189 is a pretty fair offering. Like I said, I don't think it's the greatest deal in the world, but it's hard to have too many issues with that, especially once you get this guy in hand, because there are a lot of really good things about this knife that sometimes it's hard to just see in a video. This is one you definitely got to get in hand and fidget with and use to really, truly appreciate, in my opinion. And let's take a look at some size comparisons here, see how it lines up with some other EDC knives. Excuse me. Let's pull out the Civivi Elementum here, as well as the Civivi Cubit. Get a little perspective there between those knives. And as you can see, it really is not a big knife. Now, I think where the Lido lands is somewhere around, it could either be a bigger fifth pocket carry for some people, or it could just be a primary carry for a lot of people too, because even though you don't have a lot of blade there, the way the knife kind of sits in your hands and just the way it feels, it really does kind of present itself to me as more of a primary user, like not really a fifth pocket knife. But that's, of course, up for debate. You guys let me know. If you were to get the Lido, would you use it as a fifth pocket carry, or would you use it as a primary carry, or secondary carry, or primary carry? Let's pull out a Pena Apache front flipper here. Probably the best size comparison of the video, just because a lot of people are very familiar with the size of the Pena front flippers. They're all about the same size, give or take, a 1/4 of an inch or so, maybe a 1/2 inch, but most of them are more on the smaller side. And then also another pretty good size comparison here is the Vosteed Mini Nightshade, another fifth pocket knife that I absolutely love, that is a lot like the Lido in terms of it could be a primary carry or it could be a secondary fifth pocket carry. Let's get these up here because these knives just don't want to sit upright and look good in length. But there you go. I think that's a really good size comparison right there between those two knives. So there's your size comparisons. Let's start talking about the Lido once I get all these other blades off the table and just see what we have here. And with the blade, we have a really good looking blade. This also really does speak to kind of Ostap Hell's design language. It wouldn't have been... I wouldn't say this is the most exact Ostap Hell design in terms of like being able to relate a design directly to the designer. But once I saw it, it really did make sense. Let's see, I got another Ostap Hell design here. This one right here, the Mini Dundee. Also very, as you can see, I personally see some real similarities in the design language there. I always like doing that, trying to identify a knife by the designer. I always think that's fun. But the blade itself, very slicey, pretty decent plunge grind there. I would have liked to have seen it be a little thinner behind the plunge grind. Again, when we're reviewing a premium knife that's almost $200, you want to look for a lot of the little details. But so it's not the best plunge grind in the world, but it's still pretty good, and I don't think it's going to cause too many issues. But some people who are very particular about their plunge grinds may not be the happiest with that. But as for the blade overall, I'm very happy with it. I think it fits very well into EDC, and I think the way that the blade works with the handle. So when you have this thing in hand, this is a knife to where, yes, it's small, but it's probably the most usable 2.48 inches of blade I've handled in quite a while in terms of the very back all the way to the very front. Very nice for piercing, nice swedge up there, really nice jimping to add for a little texture. They did a good job of keeping the thumb stud back far enough to where it's not interfering too much with the cutting path. And it's just a really nice knife for those dragging or push cuts. Nice sweeping cuts. You'll really get to maximize that blade, the lack of blade length, but it will definitely favor itself with those long sweeping tasks. And just a really good looking blade, and it goes into a really good looking handle. I think what really sticks out to me the most about this knife is someone who is more of a minimalist, who doesn't want that big, powerful, bruising knife. They just want, a little under 3-inch carry, but they want something with some class, with some lines, and that's really what this is. Like, it looks phenomenal. And if you're really particular on ergos, this is a knife that I think a lot of people would love. I love the ergos on this handle. They're probably the best part about this knife for me. While I love the blade shape and just overall blade design, the way this knife sits in my hand, it's probably not a 4-finger grip for me. It's more of like a 3.5-finger grip, but it is probably the most comfortable 3.5-finger grip I've ever had on a knife, because the shape of the handle, it's just like made to disappear into your palm. And it just feels so good. And the inlay of the micarta on both sides does a really good job of adding that extra little bit of thickness and texture and grip to the handle. And it works really well together. The one little issue I have with the micarta is more on this side. As you can see, the other side looks fine. But on this side, it was kind of like a meeting point or something in the micarta to where it's like an adhesion line. And again, when you're talking a $200 knife or a $189 knife, it shouldn't have that. So I would like to think that most of them won't be like this. I probably got an oddball to where it has that little imperfection line in the micarta, but I definitely don't want to see that. I want to see more just one uniform piece of micarta like you see here on this Pena. And for $189, you really should get that. So that's not ideal, but the actual feel of the micarta, and as you can see, it kind of has a bit of a raised surface over the titanium. So it does feel really good. Like I said, it adds that nice extra little bit of thickness that I really do love. So nice execution, not the best fit and finish on this micarta, but like I said, I don't think they're all like this. I think I probably got one of those oddballs in between the manufacturing run. They just happened to get in here. So kind of is what it is, but it is still a nice feeling micarta, and it really does ultimately do the job very well. And as it patinas over time, that may not be that noticeable of a thing. Have to just wait and see, because I do plan on using and carrying this guy a lot because I really do like it. When it comes to the frame lock itself, this is one of the little things that Best Tech does as good or better than anybody in the business, is kind of the lock bar release, where they do the little beveling here and the stair-step jimping. That is so nice. I mean, those are the little things that, to me, make a knife worth $189, because there's not many places that go to that level of detail to put that in on all their lock bars. This is just an excellent job of execution there. Very nice. And it makes the closing action very enjoyable, because sometimes if you have kind of like that, if it's more of just a peak and not a bevel and a point, it just doesn't feel good. You don't enjoy it. So you want to enjoy every aspect of a knife when you're talking, hundreds of dollars. And I do enjoy most aspects of this knife, and a lot of it has to do with great execution like that. And another thing that I noticed was the inlay of micarta is very thick. Look how thick that is. So I like seeing that. I think it's something I prefer. I would rather it be nice and thick. Add a little bit of extra beef to it and not such a thin and dainty piece. I like that. And then the action. Ooh, the action on this thing is so good. Really nice detent. Middle finger flicking is great. And yeah, it's typical premium action. I mean, I will say the one thing that I've noticed on the Best Tech premiums that I've handled, action and the quality of the action is very consistent. I didn't say much about the pocket clip back here, but there's really not much to be said. It's just a deep carry bent over wire clip, and it works well. Don't really have an issue with it. I think it looks pretty good on this knife too, which I don't always say for wire clips, but I really like how it works on this knife, and it serves its purpose just fine. So in terms of the overall package, this is a really, really good one, guys. If you don't mind spending a little more and you like smaller knives, this is one I would highly recommend. A great offering from Ostap. Love seeing his designs out on the market. I hope that continues. But yeah, just a really, really good job on this one. And let me know what you think of this one. I feel like this is one of the more pleasant designs of the year, in my opinion. This is, if I was picking my favorite knives just off the design alone, this would probably be one of them because I really do enjoy this a lot. That is the Best Tech Lido, guys. Let me know what you think of this one. Really hope you enjoyed it. Hope you have a great rest of your day. And until the next one, I'm out.